I'm Liz Faublas, and this is Currents. A day of history at the Vatican as the Holy Father inaugurates the Year of Faith and celebrates the Second Vatican Council. A night of history at home as the Catholics debate Joe Biden and Paul Ryan. We preview. And a school in Bushwick where the sense of family fills the halls. It's our School of the Week. Good evening and thank you for joining us. This is an enormously important and historic day for our church. Pope Benedict celebrated Mass in St. Peter's Square with hundreds of cardinals, bishops, and patriarchs to inaugurate the Year of Faith. This day also marks the 50th anniversary of the start of the Second Vatican Council. Among those in attendance, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Rowan Williams.
Pax vobis.
In his homily, the Holy Father said that 50 years ago, the Council concerned itself with our faith and how it would remain a living faith in a world of change. And that task remains today, he said, as the new Year of Faith looks to the new evangelization. And while these momentous events unfold, the Catholic bishops from around the world have gathered at the Vatican for a synod to promote the new evangelization. At the Pope's personal invitation, Archbishop Williams addressed them. He focused on the legacy of the Second Vatican Council.
For so many of my own generation, even beyond the boundaries of the Roman Catholic Church, that council was a sign of great promise, a sign that the Church was strong enough to ask itself some demanding questions about whether its culture and structures were adequate to the task of sharing the gospel with the complex, often rebellious, always restless mind of the modern world.
Bringing a new evangelization to the modern world is the goal of the Year of Faith. But how did this initiative come to be? We learned the answer from Rome Reports.
The Pope made the announcement a year ago in his apostolic letter titled Porta Fidei. In the document, the Pope explains the reasons for having a Year of Faith. He also calls on Catholics to learn more about their religion and to show consistency.
Cari fratelli e sorelle, voi siete tra I protagonisti dell'evangelizzazione nuova che la Chiesa ha intrapreso e porta avanti, non senza difficoltà, ma con lo stesso entusiasmo dei primi cristiani.
The start of the Year of Faith also coincides with the 20th anniversary of the publication of the Catechism of the Church. Throughout the year, the Pope will take part in more than a dozen major meetings to highlight key aspects. That includes a gathering with youths where the Pope will administer the sacrament of confirmation. He will also receive hundreds of Marian institutions from all continents and meet with thousands of seminarians and novices from around the world. The Pope will also be taking part in an initiative called the Gospel of Life to defend the dignity of every person from conception to natural death.
The challenge is big, but so is our desire of fully responding in a coherent way. We also want to thank the Pope because he's accompanied us throughout the year with his presence and teachings. We're grateful because he decided to dedicate Wednesdays to the theme of faith.
Throughout the Year of Faith, there will be events to strengthen the faith and to make it present in society. That includes a worldwide and simultaneous adoration of the Eucharist. Also, the Pope is calling on Christians to visit Rome and the Holy Land to recite the Creed and to meditate carefully.
Tonight on Net, Bishop DiMarzio presides at our Year of Faith services for the Brooklyn Diocese. Our coverage on Net begins at 9 p.m., so please tune in. Stay tuned for now, though. We'll have more of today's news as Currents continues after the break. Welcome back. Our news report that U.S. military has deployed troops to secure Syria's chemical weapons is being confirmed by the Secretary of Defense. The New York Times first reported yesterday that 150 soldiers are in Jordan, ready to move if the Syrian government loses control of the weapons during the civil war raging in the country. Now, Defense Chief Leon Panetta confirms the troop movement, saying, "We want to be very sure the chemical weapons don't fall into the wrong hands." The security chief of our embassy in Yemen is dead, gunned down by terrorists on motorcycles. Sources are reporting the assassination is the work of Al-Qaeda. The dead man was a Yemeni national, but the sources say the murder sends the message that if you're working with the Americans, you'll be a target, no matter who you are. Well, the brave Pakistani teenager targeted for assassination by the Taliban is in a difficult fight for her life. Malala Yousafzai has been airlifted to a hospital in Rawalpindi. The swelling of her brain is the biggest concern right now. She was shot while riding a school bus on Tuesday. The Taliban say they want her dead because she is an infidel and an obscenity. Malala had been fighting for the right of girls to attend school in Pakistan. She's 14 years old. Well, even though she is so young, Malala is proving to be an inspiration to her nation.
It was Malala Yousafzai's non-stop courage to speak out against the Taliban that first captured the hearts of many of this country's youth.
I thought that I must stand up for my rights, the right of education, the right for peace.
Malala was targeted for fighting for girls' education. Now it's her fight to survive that has countless young admirers praying for her in schools throughout Pakistan. Did everyone hear about what happened to Malala? Yes. When students at Islamabad's Khalduniya school learned militants had shot Malala in the head, they made banners, wrote her letters, demanding the government to do everything to save her.
I was really shocked because she was so ambitious and she's the girl which Pakistani girls should look up to. And now she's been shot, and I pray for her.
So who in here was inspired with what Malala said and what she did?
To have the courage to actually just go against all that, I think that was quite respectable.
So has anyone here decided to maybe change the way they live their life because of Malala? Anyone?
In our society, it's considered that girls, they don't have rights and they don't get to study. But I think that's completely wrong. We have same rights as men, and we will stand up for our rights, and we will go out and encourage all girls to study.
Now, Malala liked to speak up, even though she was in a dangerous situation. How many of you are finding yourself speaking up more about things that are not right because of Malala?
Well, I'd like to, I want these people that attacked her, I want them to learn that, women, they're not all bad, because they're basically afraid of giving women equal rights, because they're afraid of what women can do, because they know women can do a lot.
Obviously, Malala has inspired a lot of girls, but boys go to school here, and here's what's remarkable. Malala is inspiring the boys as well. Does Malala inspire you?
Yeah, she does.
She does?
Yeah.
How so?
Now I won't take advantage of school. I actually want to study. So
because of Malala.
Yeah.
What I learned from her is, education is the best thing. If you get education, then you would be a better person.
Motivated to be better people, work hard, get an education, and the source of their inspiration, a remarkable 14-year-old girl now fighting for her life.
CNN's Ressa Sayah reporting from Pakistan. In our country, the fight for religious freedom is being joined by politicians from 9 states. They are legislators creating caucuses in each of the states to battle against threats to religious liberty. The effort is being described as the first ever to focus exclusively on religious freedom. And the issue seen as the biggest threat to religious rights, the HHS mandate, now has hit a milestone. More than 100 lawsuits by people, churches, universities, and businesses against the government are now underway to overturn that mandate. 2 universities in Texas are among the 100. East Texas Baptist University President Dub Oliver explains what's at stake.
We really have tried to address this in a number of different avenues to no avail, and so this lawsuit really is another way for us to try to get relief and to have the First Amendment guaranteed to us as it should be.
Eventually, the Supreme Court is expected to decide the matter. And 2 Catholic politicians will be center stage before the nation tonight. Joe Biden and Paul Ryan will make history in their vice presidential debate, the first time the 2 major parties have nominated Catholics for the office. Earlier today, I sat down with Brian Kasuba of the Catholic Citizens Committee and asked him why this is significant.
Tonight's going to be very significant, Liz, with the fact that both candidates are Roman Catholic. This is the first time in history that's been the case. And I do hope that the moderator, Martha Raddatz, does bring that to the public's attention during the debate.
We have both men, as far as we know, as far as we've heard, very deeply steeped in their faith, yet they disagree on issues of critical importance to the church and to society. We have abortion, health care, government's role in caring for the poor. Which issue at this point do you think is the most polarizing?
It's going to be interesting. There's been a lot of talk recently, especially about, Romney's own stance on abortion, where he's, once upon a time stood and where he is now, and sort of really getting a sense of where even he stands in relation to his own running mate. I think Vice President Biden is going to make that an issue in tonight's debate. Romney has done a lot to cut into the gap with the women's vote, and I think that Biden's going to really put Ryan on the spot to talk about Romney's own stance on abortion, to try to get an answer as to where Romney really stands right now on that issue.
So you really think that this apparent lack of unification might affect not only the ticket with regard to that particular issue, but perhaps how Catholics view the ticket?
Absolutely, Liz. It's right now, especially with the women's vote becoming, and the Catholic vote becoming very important and crucial. That will affect how Catholics play. That will affect how women play. When they really try to get an answer as to where Romney stands and who on the ticket is really going to be driving the bus on this issue. Is it going to be the vice president who is staunch pro-life, or is it going to be the president himself?
Okay, you've said it before. This is now conventional wisdom. People vote for president, not for vice president. But it seems for some reason this particular debate, these 2 meeting at the podium, has taken on some significance. Why do you think that is?
I mean, a number of reasons. As we outlined, they're both Catholic, but historically, at times, a vice president debate does come into play in elections. In 2004, after Kerry did a great job with Bush in the first presidential debate, it was incumbent upon Dick Cheney to sort of stop the momentum. The president had an off week last week during the first debate. Romney's polling numbers have increased in a lot of swing states and a lot of polls. Some polls have him ahead even right now. So it puts a lot of pressure on the vice president to stop that momentum.
Who actually has a lot more experience than Paul Ryan, but do you think that in any way is going to inhibit Ryan's performance tonight? Do you think we're going to see another surprise?
I don't believe so. I mean, Ryan's done, even though he hasn't debated as much, he's done, I think, 120 interviews since he's been put on the ticket. So he's no stranger to getting the tough questions and having to answer them well. He did very good at the convention. I think the big thing that Biden is going to try to do is try to poke holes in anything that Ryan is saying and trying to get him to really stick to a particular platform, especially when it comes to the Ryan, the budget platform.
Okay, Ryan, I'm a Catholic, not just watching the debate, but just vetting each particular ticket to determine which candidate best represents my needs, my beliefs, my future. Which would be the proverbial dream team at this point, do you think, with regard to the issues that matter most to us?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think it's a tough answer to be able to come up with. Again, as we talked so much about the diversity of the Catholic vote, and all the issues that Catholics really feel important to them, as we talk on the social side, these issues when it comes to abortion, when it comes to the other side about doing things for the meek, the poverty, the poor, the hungry. Both sides of the ticket do well in certain regards, and other sides don't do well in some of these regards. So it's hard to really quantify who right now is the Catholic dream team.
A lot of interesting points have been made as we head into this debate and with many of the debates, and it's always just like, who do you think will win? Who do you think will win? Well, define win. Is winning who answers best on the issues, or is winning who appears more presidential, more in tune with what's going on with regards to foreign policy, domestic policy, and social issues? What would you say would be winning a debate?
Yeah, this goes back to a lot what we talked about last week about sort of the perception and how you handle yourself on stage. We looked at the first debate. You know, everything coming out of that was not so much what they were actually saying, but that, you know, Romney was acting, you know, more on the attack, more aggressive, whereas the president was a little bit more laid back and wasn't aggressive. You know, I think it was a tactical blunder by the Democrats to sort of like to make him do that. I think that's going to be the case tonight too. I think they're both going to be aggressive, but obviously everyone's watching to see if if Biden makes a blunder, as he's been prone to do in the past. And everyone's going to be watching to see how Ryan handles that, how he handles the attacks that Biden is going to be putting forward.
I'm definitely looking forward to this debate, and I know you'll be watching too, which definitely means you're going to have to come back and help us kind of dissect everything that was said during the debate. But of course, happy to have you here once again with us, and looking forward to having you back.
Always a pleasure, Liz.
Thank you, Brian. Currents will continue after the break. The religious changes in our country are raising questions about the future in our country. We'll take a closer look next. Our news report yesterday that a growing number of Americans have no affiliation with organized religion is prompting a growing number of questions today, with many left wondering what the impact may be on life outside the church.
The faithful come to midday mass at the Basilica of the National Shrine in Washington, even as a new trend shows fewer Americans are embracing organized religion. The Pew Forum on Religion and Public Life finds about 20% of American adults say they have no particular ties to a given faith. That's up from about 15% just 5 years ago. And the data shows a generational change, younger people moving away from established religion. That can have an impact beyond the pews and into politics, as this activist who questions religious dogma suggests.
They don't see religion, especially religious dogma, as something that's important for determining their values. With respect to this group of individuals, Republicans are seen as having some of their policies shaped by religious doctrine, especially in the area of same-sex marriage and reproductive rights.
When you look at voting trend lines, you can see what Lindsay is talking about. In 1990, 5% of voters didn't identify with any particular religion. In the 2010 election, that number had increased to 12%. But don't think that means religion is unimportant. Just about everyone we spoke to say some form of faith is part of their lives.
You have to find something that grounds you.
Good morals, which comes from religion, is basis of good value in people.
Back at the Basilica, Monsignor Vito Bonanno says what he believes is going on is that people are questioning and searching.
Many people do look, and they may shop around, as they say. It could be that and may be that, but it's a great opportunity because we know that they're questioning. And that's what faith is. Faith is to question.
That report from Lisa Sylvester of CNN. And as we told you last night, even among those who don't belong to a religion, 2/3 of them say they do believe in God. We continue with more currents after the break. Our School of the Week, an academy in Bushwick where the youngsters take care of their own. Welcome back. Now for our School of the Week in Bushwick, Brooklyn, where the sense of family fills the halls at St. Francis Cabrini Catholic Academy, a school where everyone there takes care of everyone else, especially as they adopt their new status as an academy.
St. Francis Cabrini Catholic Academy has been an academy for just the past 3 months, so we are very new. And the transition was actually really easy because we were preparing for this for the past year. So the parents and the children and the teachers were all ready and ready to start.
What else? Sharks swim, but are sharks and dolphins in the same family?
The transition has been great. I feel that it hasn't really changed for us. Our way of teaching has been the same, and we are all comfortable with the changes. It's not what we teach or what we do as a school per se.
You love each other, but you can't hold each other when there's a fight. You have to let go.
St. Francis Cabrini Catholic Academy has a very strong family foundation. We have a large group of parents that were students here. And so it has this sense of family unity where the teachers now have given class to multiple generations.
Our teachers are in very close relation with parents. They are constantly in touch, informing them about the students' progress. We organize help groups. There is that care that you can feel on every step in our school.
We've always taken pride that because we are a small school, we get to know the children personally, get to know the families personally. So the family atmosphere is just something that happens naturally.
The family atmosphere means, like, since we're monitors now, it's like we help the kids and making them more like into a family.
We help to teach the younger ones how to act towards each other, with each other, manners with each other, and how to act during school times, class time.
The students feel that they're more like brothers and sisters instead of only just friends at school. They're more than friends. So we give them the sense of saying, this is a family, so we treat each other like brothers and sisters.
Everyone likes to be loved and accepted, no matter where they're from, what country they're from, no matter what walks of life they're coming from. And I think this is very important, that there's a safe place, that safe environment they can send their children to.
And thank you for joining us for tonight. Be sure to be here on Friday for our Week in Review. Many major developments this week. We'll look at them Friday night. Until then, visit us online at currentsny.net. Tonight, we leave you with a beautiful rendition of Salve Regina from today's Papal Mass in St. Peter's Square. For all of us here at Currents, I'm Liz Faublas. Thank you for watching and have a good night.
Salve.